Welcome to the Oh my God, I screwed it up right away, right off the beginning. Welcome to the Super Design Bowl. That intro was kind of epic. My name is Billy Baumann. I'm the person behind the Super Design Bowl. This is Aaron Sechrist. Okay, Pants. How's it going, Aaron?
I'm good, Billy. How you doing?
Terrible, as you can see. I'm not a broadcaster. I'm barely a graphic designer, and a terrible broadcaster.
We're fooling all the right people. You're doing great.
Excellent. So let's do some intros. So my name is Billy. I told you that already, but I had this stupid idea to do the Super Design Bowl. And if you're here, you already know what the fuck that is. I would think so. And since I'm pretty boring and not entertaining, I wrangled my friend Aaron here, Pantsley, into joining me on the post game report.
Window dressing here.
So we're actually let's kind of talk about what the Super Design Bowl, my sort of goals with it. And you tell me what you think. So I had this idea earlier in 2020, I guess, and I thought it'd be really fun to have all the designers we know design sport logos, because everybody was doing it for free anyways. So why not make them do it for free, or have them do it for free? Right.
They're dropping between colleagues at the same time.
And it's actually this is the first episode of this, and hopefully we're going to be doing a lot more. But it's actually going really well. And so on these post game reports, the goal is to talk about one of the matchups. We're gonna have the designers on the show to talk about their matchups. And so in this episode, it's actually just going to be me and you talking about our matchup, which was for the Panthers.
I thought you were hitting a trigger there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Carolina Panthers, I think, and I want to just say, I think you did a fantastic job building the platform for this, and the website and the voting system, and basically doing everything essentially. And I think in the attention economy that we live in, and the internet comment section world that we live in, I think the way you set it up was as democratic and as drama free as possible as something could be. I feel like it's like a big no-no in the world of art and design to sort of treat it like a finger painting contest, like an A versus B type thing. So of course, that's what made this really fun, right? Like, this is kind of like, like normally if we want to be artsy fartsy, we'd say this is pretty reductive to kind of pit it, peanut butter versus jelly.
But to me, since it was about sports branding, and sports are about losers and winners, right? I thought it made a lot of sense. And then also, if you read the copy and the name Super Design Bowl, it's all meant in good fun.
No, I mean, to your point, I was going to say I like everything about that, because it's a chance to kind of just let our guard down and sort of take our monocles off and leave our pretentiousness at the door, and kind of just have a little fun, against each other. So that being said, I was really on board from the very beginning of this whole thing, and we both love putting together fantasy speculative team rebrands as it was, and we kind of talk shop about these things more than kind of any other design component, any sort of design or art related things, when it's just you and me bullshitting.
Yeah. And another big aspect to it that made me want to do it is as far as sports branding and design goes, we're a little bit on the outside, right? As
absolutely.
Yeah, right. But we know people on the inside, right? Mm-hmm. Like Fraser Davidson or Joe Bozak and all these people.
Todd Rabbit.
But we also, with our poster backgrounds and all this crap, we also know a lot of people on the way outside. So I was hoping, as a goal of mine, is to bring some of these people that are way out there, like a board, right? Who? What's that?
I'm sorry, I missed you there. Go ahead. Go. Sorry.
I wanted to bring people from way outside the sports branding world, like a Drew Millward or a Kendrick Kidd, who are great designers or great illustrators, and bring them in to the sports branding universe and try to get some new ideas. Because just like any sort of design, group thought, there's trends in sports branding design, and everything will kind of like look the same for a while. So this was an opportunity to maybe inject some new ideas into the whole sports branding thing, and some new ideas from new people, from outside sources, instead of the same, five guys designing everything.
Yeah, I think, and that's what I think that's what was so intriguing about the whole thing, is that there is this sort of community of people that both on the right and left side of the fence when it comes to design in an athletic context. The right side being people that very much are in tune with what works for professional sports, what fits that mold, and then people on the left, like your Drew Millwards, me to an extent, that want to fucking blow the whole thing up and just introduce something from outer space and really try to just come at it from a completely different point of view, and to throw them all kind of in the octagon together. I can't think of anything that's been done like this. And when you start to talk in those terms, it gets very exciting.
Yeah. I'm excited. Can you tell?
To talk you down before we went on here,
Another thing I want to talk about is we didn't put comments on the website.
Why is that?
We didn't, because from what I've seen in the sports branding world and sports, even from a general fan perspective, the commentary can be brutal.
Not necessarily nuanced and on subject.
Yeah, and if I'm gonna be asking designers to, hey, can you please design me a logo for free? I mean, no one's getting paid here. Then I didn't want to subject them to some douchebag comments.
No, it's
right.
That I think also is the streamlined nature of the Super Design Bowl is what's, I think, one of the better aspects of it.
Oh yeah, so there's not like 12 pages you have to click.
No, I mean no commentary. There's no outlet for people to be like, kill yourself, this sucks. You know what you're doing. I don't like the color red. Kill yourself.
No, we have been seeing some stupid comics like that on the Instagram versions, right? Where I'll post about it.
It's unavoidable.
It's unavoidable. I actually we'll talk about one with our Panthers one here in a second. So I brought you on to help with the post game report with me, but I'm also kind of thinking about maybe we could host some tutorials on this, and other types of, or even have people. We don't have a comment section, but have people come on and do a listener, not a listener, or a viewer, a voter show where people can come on and give us their horrible takes.
Well, I think when you put someone in front of a camera and they have to actually own their opinions and they can't just hit send and run away, it's voiced a lot differently 90% of the time.
Well, I'm going to make them explain themselves.
No, that's my point. Like when you can just be any dickhead on the internet and you can just look at something for 3 seconds and just go no, or go, like throw away your computer and then you never have to talk to them again. It's vastly different from, having someone on that, here's my face and here's why I liked what this is or I didn't like what this is.
Yeah.
That you can have an actual conversation that's constructive, that actually gets to the nuts and bolts of an actual piece of fucking design.
Yeah. So if you're out there and you see one of our designs on the Super Design Bowl and you've got a really strong opinion about it, email me. Let me know. Maybe you'll be on the next episode.
Yeah, I think this is a big step forward from elevating the conversation from LOL nah to actually talking shop and talking about stuff that we're passionate about in a constructive way.
And here's the thing is, if you've made it this far in the show, you do like to talk design. I love talking design. I love thinking design. I love doing design. I love talking shop with people. So let's talk shop. So, but before we do, let's bring in the third piece to this crew. This surprise. This is Joe Moore. Hi, Joe.
Hey, there's Joe Moore.
Hey guys.
How's it going, Joe? So I brought Joe in just because I wanted a third opinion when we talk about these logos, so it's not just us. But I also just wanted to introduce everybody to Joe. Joe has been very instrumental in helping me wrangle the designers because, as you know, that is not easy.
No.
Yeah. So Joe's been awesome. Joe's been a great sounding board. Joe's been wrangling all this shit, and so let's talk about Panthers. So we launched the site with 3 different matchups, and one of them was me and you, Aaron, or you and I, however you put that, with the Panthers. I want to ask you guys what you think about the current Panthers logo right now, and let me pull it up as you guys talk about it.
The current, the I've heard it described as the pizza, quote unquote, pizza slice logo.
The Panthers pizza slice. The Panthers.
That's just what I mean. It was kind of conceived in an era where stuff kind of had that 3/4 view cropped style, along with like the Patriots logo and the Jaguars initial logo. When everything for some reason got teal just as a color in the 90s.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
That doesn't look like a pizza slice to me anymore. Kind of, but anyways.
They did update it apparently.
Yep.
I actually kind of like the old version a little bit better. Yeah, the Panthers logo to me is one of the most troublesome logos in the NFL, if perhaps the most troublesome. There's some real issues with this, and when we critique logos on the show, I want to be careful and say I don't want to throw any designers under the bus with this stuff and be respectful of everyone's designs because it's a tough job. But there's some. I've always felt like he's squishy, like there's no real dimension. You know what I'm saying?
I can see that. Yeah.
And it's always been a logo that's always bummed me out, honestly. And it's like these whiskers on the side. It's just like that's hard as hell to design with. There's just the curve that goes around the mouth right here. It's a little lumpy and uneven.
So are we gonna go around the table and give our takes?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I mean, so like, do you want me to wait to my turn, or do you want me to
go cut in? Let's go.
I think honestly, this, like, I'm using my mouse as if you can use that on that.
I'll point for you.
So and I agree with you. There is kind of a globulousness about the logo, even after they updated it from the initial 90s iteration. But I do like the lower lip area, and I do like kind of that shading that runs under the jaw, and how they play with there being an outline, and there's the containing shape corner sort of spells out the whole logo, as opposed to the initial 90s one, which had like 2 or 3 extra strokes outside of each, which was like a thing, especially when vector was first a thing. Just every logo had to have 2 or 3 outer strokes for no particular reason.
Everything has to have outer strokes. That is a huge trend in sports branding design.
It's like 3, 4, 5, or 6 strokes.
Yeah. How many strokes you want? That's what they ask them in their first meeting.
Yeah. So I mean, I like that they weren't afraid to sort of say fuck that to this. So that to me is like a strength of it.
Yeah.
And I think like the teeth in the mouth and the lower lip area are like the more successful parts of this thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I think overall there's wonkiness.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like when the ear gets so close with the blue up here.
Yeah, that's the part that really jumped out to me.
This part of the eye,
tip of the ear, really.
Yeah, the tip of the ear. What's going on here?
It doesn't look on purpose. Yeah,
Yeah, this like
it doesn't
in
look quite intentional.
yeah, so like you have all these sharp points, right? Sharp point, sharp point, sharp point, sharp point. And then here, curvy. You know, like,
Yeah.
okay, your logo needs to either be sharp points or it needs to go curvy. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick a style and stick with it. And I know that's just a little minor point of it, but that's sort of emblematic of sort of the
Okay,
like I was
here's what kind of puzzles me, and I've looked at this as much as you guys have looked at this over the years. The upper neck area that reaches his left ear, it makes it look like that area that cuts in
yeah,
the ear. So it looks like maybe the neck is like protruding out of
yeah,
the
that
ear.
makes no sense. The ear, this part, the blue part should be cutting right into here.
Yeah, and I suppose I should say this in the interest of being diplomatic and not to come off like we're shitting all over design work for the sake of shitting over it. There's a good chance that the best version of this thing got thrown out the window by management and ownership.
Yes.
And this is the result of just way too much compromise between stakeholders in this project that should have never had a voice in it. So I think we should probably boilerplate kind of throw that out there for everything. So
Yeah. I also think we should be, but I think it's important to critique things harshly because that's how you learn, right? And we're not out here to like designing logos, especially when you have to design them to a committee. It's difficult. We don't know the ins and outs of whatever happened with this.
But also all three of us, I'm sure, have had our share of getting our asses torn apart on projects.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So it's all done. I'll go back to when you watch the NFL on Fox or the NBA on TNT, and retired players are critiquing current players' performances. It's done very much I've earned the right to kind of talk this shit, so to speak.
Yeah. And we've never designed an NFL logo, so maybe we haven't earned that right. But
I was gonna say, I don't know if you've earned the right. I have not earned that right. But I'm happy to do it all the same.
No, look, I'm not here to end anybody's career or cost anybody any money. What I'm saying is we have certainly spent enough time and earned some stripes to critique this stuff in an objective manner that's not meant to like kill anybody.
Well put. So now let's get into let's talk shit about our own designs. Okay? So our matchup was good. Okay, but I hate to say this. I won the design.
You love to say that.
Yeah. And Aaron was I'm not gonna say it, Aaron.
Yeah.
But I will have it go across the bottom.
I almost missed the chyron there on the bottom. Very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you earned it. To the victors go the spoils, man. You earned it.
Let me just put this out here though. I heard, not from you, I inferred this. Okay, Aaron, and you can tell me if the rumors are right about this. Your good pal Billy Baumann asked you to make a Panthers logo, and you got really, really busy, and you perhaps didn't spend as much time with this logo as you wanted to. Is that accurate, or am I?
Yes and no. Yes and no.
Okay.
I think the amount of time I put into this, there being no budget and it being in the middle of other work, was actually a constraint that produced a better piece than if I had a lot of time.
Okay.
Let's say I took 2 weeks off of work and I worked on this mark. It wouldn't have come out, the deadline that I finally was faced with, I think, is what produced this. Because and I'm not just saying this for the sake of good radio or TV, I'm real proud of this concept. Cool. If I had a month to work on it, would it be refined somewhat? Sure. But I think in general, no offense to your piece, I would roll with mine. It's like when the losers always say, like, I still think we had a better team. We just didn't have it today.
Well, let's talk about your concept here a little bit. So for me, I'm getting the it looks like a C, okay, right? But it also kind of looks like a moon to me. back there. And maybe that's a stupid ass thing to say because it maybe
those were both intentional decisions being made there, my friend.
Yeah. But I like that aspect of it. Maybe if it was supposed to be a moon, maybe that would have made more sense if it was like the wolves or something, but like that. But I like but your design to me has a fierceness that obviously my design doesn't. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I agree. The first thing that kind of comes to mind is just like aggression. You see it. I think that more so than your design, Billy, and maybe that's almost a I think you could tell almost as like a nod to the existing Panthers logo with the that kind of ferocity that logo has. Same as this one.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you some detail stuff here.
Sure.
That I'm curious about. When I look at design, I really look at it. So the tongue. I love the tongue. It's such an interesting stylized tongue that is somewhere in between tongue and lightning bolt. So what is that? Are you feeling it, or what's the idea? You know what I'm saying?
I guess
You're doing.
That plays into my whole approach with this thing, where I looked at the existing. My approach always with like speculatively doing sports logos is I immediately blow the whole thing up and build a new thing from scratch. Whereas when I looked at the existing Panthers mark, I go, okay, like there's a lot here ingredients wise I like the Carolina blue color. I love that it's obviously a Panther, so the whole fucking uniform should be for the most part black. And I wanted to kind of take the simplicity they were using with the current mark and sort of distill that down more. And then on top of all that, I wanted black. Like, to me, there's so many sports teams that are needlessly black. They use the color black, and they shouldn't be black teams.
Sure. Well, like when Duke wears a black uniform.
I mean, it looks sick, but that's because it's black. And their team's called the fucking Blue Devils. But anyways,
yeah.
This is the one team that should really be 95% black, 5% Carolina blue, and literally the only white should literally be the teeth and maybe the glint of the eyeball that I threw in there.
Yeah.
So and beyond that, I think I looked at I think if I borrowed, so to speak, from other stuff, I looked at like the old Atlanta Hawks quote unquote Pac-Man logo, and I looked at the Thundercats logo, and I go, I was like,
yeah.
I go, these are all strong things that I think I could find a place for in something that feels new. And then if I could have a playback, as the quarterback says, I would have presented this particular iteration just on an all black background instead of on a black roundel
with the circle.
Yeah, but it still works for me. I really like the moon, like that moon shape that doubles as a C. Yes, it's not like the Panther is not the most synonymous with the night thing, but given the success of the Black Panther movie and character, and then also just given how those things worked and kind of fell together graphically, I think it was cool. And a panther to me is not the most vicious animal or predator. It's always more of a prowling sort of. If you think of an animal, sort of like you pull an archer, you pull the arrow back before you release it, bow and arrow. I always think of that, So I kind of tried to walk that line where the existing Carolina Panthers logo it feels like a little too friendly for what it should be, and easy to incorporate into my mark. So with that being said, that was why when you get down to the tongue, it's like, okay, you can't get super ornate or detailed about a tongue. It's got to sort of spell out what it's doing very simply, and that's kind of the solution I arrived at with that.
What are your guys' opinions about? So the Panthers logo is sort of 3/4 view, that as it exists right now, and you and I both did logos that were total just profiles that were more flat graphic. What do you guys? How do you feel about that? Like, what's your do you guys have a preference over the type of logos or even sport logos that are more, like the Bears logo it's just a flat face or you know what I mean? As opposed to the new Jaguars logo, which is literally just basically an illustration in 3/4 view.
I think it's an animal by animal basis. I think for a panther, for this specific animal, I think it just made a more interesting gestural shape to do the side profile. And then if I wanted to sort of make it my own, not sort of follow exactly the existing mark, I wanted to sort of flatten out that side profile, except for where the teeth are.
Yeah. Which is what you did. And so let's go to your Instagram real fast. Let's read the comments. No, I'm kidding. So one thing that the Super Design Bowl doesn't allow you to do, which is difficult, is when you're making a logo and you're presenting it to a client, you're showing it on T-shirts, you're showing it on billboards, you're showing it on the uniform, you're showing it on coffee mugs, right? You're showing it on websites. You get to really express how this logo lives in the real world, right? Now, Super Design Bowl is much harder because it's just one square image, and that's all you get. No mock-ups.
I think also really that was your decision, and I think it was a very good one.
Yeah, thank you. I think it was just natural. But like you were able to throw it on a helmet, which I think when you see it on helmets, it just becomes more real and it sort of comes alive. And I think the fierceness really is awesome. And I love it out of the circle on the helmet is really cool. And then you did the full on.
I loved this personally.
Thanks.
The full like mascot instead of just kind of the head and neck area. Like I could see this painted in an end zone.
Yeah, I mean this is where it started. Like this was before I did that cropped C head version.
Yeah.
That was just taken from this. And again, I thought about it in terms of if you have to look at this as a profile photo on a social media thing and on a helmet, what makes more sense? So
yeah. And my only critique of this guy is I really like these are almost like heraldic lion sort of appendages, like that guy that's on the side of a.
Hold on, do that. What's he look like? Oh, that one.
Right, and I love the angular, the points, but then when it gets to the tail, I kind of wish the tail had you just kind of did more angles with the tail because the tail is swoopy. It's so cute and cuddly, the tail.
I mean, look, I don't. The honest reply to that is, and it's I don't want to use this as a crutch. It's like, okay, we only had so much time to work.
No, listen, I know.
Listen, it's you live with it. It's it's not. I don't want to default to that, but
Yeah, and honestly, the only reason that I like discussing this stuff or critiquing it is because to me it's interesting from a learning point of view. Like these are the things we see as designers, and everybody else sees things as designers in other ways. So let's move on from how much time should we give the loser? I mean, I don't know. I mean, come on, right?
All right, here we go.
All right, now Aaron gets to say everything.
All right,
yeah. Now you gotta talk shit about this. Wait, let me talk about my creative process for a little bit here. Okay, guys, come on, give me a break.
Guy wore a Hall of Fame blazer already.
The gold jacket.
So earlier in the year, along with the Super Design Bowl thing, I started doing this thing called Trademark Tees commercial. Go to threadless.com or trademarktees.threadless.com, which is basically me scanning in old mid-century logos and then putting them on and stealing them and putting them on t-shirts. And I by doing that project, I ended up amassing 20 books of vintage mid-century logos. So I kind of was inundated with all these fucking logos. And I was sort of inspired by a lot of that stuff that I saw. when I was thinking about this logo. I was like, okay, how can I do it in quote unquote the most simple way that I could, with one almost monoline weight with just some minor details with like the mouth and the eye and the nose. And that was sort of my head process with it, because for me, football is like there's nothing tough and scary about a Steelers logo. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, well, as opposed to what you did, where you got a lot of emotion and fierceness in your logo, mine is more very passive, sure, graphicized, for lack of a better term. And then the sort of radial circle things was just some bullshit graphical element that I thought I could run through if I was thinking about a full branding suite. Like this is a pattern that would go into the.
Yeah, no, the concentric circles is something I default to almost as much as lighting. You ain't gotta explain that to me.
So now you guys can rip. So the one thing that I don't like about my logo, and that I wish I could change now, is I don't like the swoop of the nose, and it gets into the C. Like there's a bottleneck here. I don't know if me rotating the Panther's head a little bit to open that space up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the kind of the only thing that bothers me.
Now, let me ask you, Billy.
Go ahead. Yeah.
What was yours, aside from, you mentioned the concentric circles as just kind of a design element. What went into the, I guess, why did you default to making this basically a single color design as opposed to adding some of that?
I mean, that totally goes back to what I was talking about with the vintage logo books that I was collecting. Everything's in one color. So I was that was sort of that's just where my head was at. Like, how could I make this, if, there's back in the day when people were making logos, they had to do one color versions and design that way because of the technology. It had to photocopy, it had to fax, it had to be simple enough, right, to be stenciled on something.
Sure.
We don't have those limitations now.
We should, not to cut you off.
Yeah. We don't have those limitations now, but a lot of those design principles, either culturally or whatever, have stuck with us.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's sort of playing with the old rules, even if they don't apply nowadays. That's sort of what I was at.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think your concern over the bottlenecking of the nose might be one of my more favorite aspects.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I really like how yours is super flattened out and super graphic, and you're trying to do as much as possible with as little as possible, graphically speaking. If there was like if it were mine notion I would have about this mark, I would maybe kill the separation between the C and the Panther head, and so it kind of lives as one solid fused stroke, if that makes sense. But that's kind of like what I did with mine. So
yeah,
I think it is super interesting. We didn't show each other any of our work before this went to voting. Like we didn't share.
No, and that's how I keep it for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody show. I say keep it secret until we except for Brandon Moore and Joe Moore's contest, which we'll talk about later. He kind of released it early, but whatever.
No, which I think. But what is interesting about that is how similar in concept and direction both of ours are.
Yeah. So we both kind of stuck with the color scheme. I kind of added a little more yellow to mine because honestly, I don't like the Carolina blue. It's a personal choice. I understand that's like a Carolina thing, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But and you said, Aaron, you liked the Carolina blue.
I really do. I mean, those Carolina, the University of North Carolina basketball uniforms with the Argyle, are so sharp to me. I feel like the Panthers have like quietly turned the teal into more of a baby blue, Carolina blue over the years, and they just won't admit to it. I was also like, I was like a teenager when they first became a team, an expansion team, and so it always felt like it was more teal, and it's become more of like a colder baby blue than anything. But that's besides the point. Anyways, I do like that, and I do like it contrasted with black a lot.
So I, like you, went ahead and threw it on a helmet because I couldn't be left out.
I love that face mask, by the way. I mean, I like the whole thing, but that face mask looks great with that.
Oh, thanks. I don't think that's not quite the right blue color, but
no, I mean, mine was definitely not spot on with the color matching either. But
yeah, threw it on a uniform. Obviously, there's a lot of opinions about the color rush uniforms, and
like this one specifically.
No, in general, where the pants and the shirt, where the pants and the shirt are the same color.
Depends on the team. To me, I know
I can't get enough of it. I love it.
No, I do. I think overall, it's a very cool movement. You know,
some people hate it. What do you think, Joe?
I'm gonna go with Aaron here. It depends on the team. You know, I want to say Jacksonville a couple years ago had the all
the mustard. Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of the Seahawks slime green.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, but
it produced my single favorite Browns uniform.
Yeah, the all brown.
The last year's Color Rush Browns uniforms were the sharpest thing I've seen my team wear yet to date in the history of the franchise.
Like the Color Rush.
It feels like it's either you either love the Color Rush or just hate it. You know.
I mean, I feel like sports design, talking in a nutshell, is very polarized as it is, but the Color Rush stuff definitely ramps that all up. It ratchets it up.
Speaking of sports design comments, so yesterday on the Instagram, this is a comment that someone gave me on this logo. This looks like the Cubs logo. Or this looks just like the Cubs logo.
Now, can I interject? Did you try an iteration where you tried to not make it look like the Cubs logo? I mean, look, everyone designs differently.
Yeah. I tried.
For the record, the whole time I've been looking at this, I was thinking, I go, well, what if the C was cropped off was cropped to look like the Cubs C? So to be fair, I get why someone would reductively just say it looks like the Cubs, but I could look like the Cubs.
Round C's. They're both round C's.
Yeah.
Okay, but beyond that, that's
about it. Yeah,
that's about it. For someone to say it looks like, I don't want to blow this guy up. Looks very similar to the Chicago Cubs logo.
I mean, my single least favorite thing of anybody in life is when you look at something and just go, oh, it looks like that thing. And then that's like you just drive a conversation right off the fucking cliff. Like, it's okay. Like,
okay.
How are you supposed to respond to that? You're supposed to say,
no.
I put a roll my eye emoji to it.
I just ignore anytime. It's just, I ignore that stuff. And comment, it's no one wants to have a conversation when they just say, they look at something and they go, well, X looks like Y.
Yeah.
It
doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything.
No, it doesn't mean anything. It's like when someone goes, I don't like this. And then I'll go, if I'm bored, I'll go, well, what don't you like? And they just go, well, I just don't like the color green.
I mean,
I'll tell you,
that's a fine argument.
A step further, though,
yeah,
that's worse, is if, say, you were to post this, and then you would get a comment about some of the moves the Panthers made in free agency. Then you're like, well, man, I'm really sorry that they let Cam Newton go. Yeah, that sucks. And I'm sorry that that's what you thought of when you saw this logo.
Yeah. they complain about management. It's like, dude.
Okay, wait, Billy, real quick. You said that's a valid argument when someone just goes, "I don't like the color. Pick a color." You know, like I don't
Well,
like.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like it's not valid as in I should care, but at least that's an opinion you can have. Like, at least that tells me something.
Yeah.
When you say this looks like the Cubs logo, that doesn't tell me anything, you know?
No, but where do you go after someone says, "I don't like the color blue"? Like,
You don't. I mean, that's okay. Thank you for expressing
You
your
have.
opinion.
I think you apologize immediately.
Yeah,
Really sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I can look.
On behalf
I've
of
got a couple
all
of meetings. I
primary
can get you a yellow version by end of day. I'm so sorry.
I mean, sports logos must be the hardest thing to design for, not the actual design process, but the people that you have to appease. Because with sports logos, and this is probably going to be a theme through all these episodes, is people, it's like a band, right? When the band changes their sound in the third album, and then people are pissed because they identify themselves with that band. And if that band changes, then you can't identify with them, right? So in a sports team, your man cave is Panthers everywhere. It's how you identify yourself. You've got a Panthers flag on your car. This Panthers team and logo represent not just the team, they represent you and who you are. So if somebody changes that, especially drastically, then you can't emotionally identify with it, and it can be very upsetting. So to design for that, as opposed on top of all the owners that never took an art class, you know, to design for that kind of crowd to try to appease 51% of them, that's an impossible task.
Oh, this is 9,000 light years easier to just do this in a vacuum with no direction and just free to do it however you want. We can all acknowledge that. It's a Herculean task to, one, put together an aesthetically pleasing piece of design that works on a technical level, and two, pleases management and ownership, and three, satisfies the majority of a rabid fan base.
Yeah, nearly impossible.
Can either of you think of anything recently that has been close to universal approval in terms of like a athletic brand? But the one that immediately comes to mind for me, I'll tell you, was the Seattle. Is it Seattle? The NHL team.
Oh, the Kraken.
Yes.
The Kraken.
Where I don't know
but hold on. That's cheating though, because they didn't exist before. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Like if the Kraken had been around for 30 years with the same shitty logo, and then they came out with that, people would lose their shit.
Well, I mean,
whatever Washington decides on, they're already, up against it in terms of the Washington football team, in terms of whatever they design.
Whatever they design.
Just be ready for 60-70% of people or 60-70% of comments to be, this is terrible.
I think that on the opposite side, the Chargers just basically went back to their 70s powder blue and yellow uniforms, and those were universally loved. The Indians the Cleveland baseball team is going through the longest, most acrimonious brand transition of all time, where they're slowly removing, their racist mascot, and then they're even slower to remove the team name. So that's not a universally agreed upon or hated move. It's very much split down the middle, which doesn't answer your question at all, Joe. Sorry.
No, but that's going to be an interesting thing to watch, and something that
fascinating
love to talk about on the Super Design.
To derail it, I love it when they just went with the caps with the C,
the block C.
Oh, I love that.
That looks great.
I think that one, very few people don't like that one. That was a very agreed upon move, to your point.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think we did it, boys.
Yeah, I feel good about this, man.
Yeah, it started off a little chunky. I apologize about that.
It did. Oh no, we were good.
No, it was chunky. It was a little rough. It
Listen,
was a little roof.
The Browns got beat 38-0 in the first game of the season. They went on to win a game in the playoffs. So you know what? Yeah.
Then, hey, Aaron, then what happened?
I don't know. I didn't watch last week, man. I don't. I'm losing everywhere this week, but yeah, congrats to your Kansas City Chiefs, Joe, and I regret that I will not be rooting for them tomorrow, but I don't think that matters because I think you'll be seeing them in 3 weeks in Tampa.
Yeah, I do.
That quarterback of yours, I think he might know what he's doing.
I know what he's doing.
No, but congrats, and Billy, congrats on your win. It's well earned. And
I appreciate it. Thank you for playing.
It was a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get enough people to participate in this thing moving forward, so I can get another crack at this thing.
I think we're gonna have to do best 2 out of 3.
Oh yeah, I like it.
2 out of 3.
Cool.
Okay, awesome, guys. Thanks so much. Let's do this again real soon.
You got it.
Peace, and thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it if you made it this far.